Welcome to season 2 of the Dr. Wendy Show. I want to change location and scenery. So not only are we at a new location, we're at a new house, the White House. And not only are we in the White House, I needed someone to sit beside me. So I have the one, the only. Press Secretary of the United States of America, Karine Jean-Pierre. Hi.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the White House.
Thank
Your
you.
Viewers, welcome to the White House.
Welcome,
we are
guys.
so excited to have you.
I'm
welcome.
so excited to have you.
And you're kicking off your season 2 here. Hey,
Hey.
we're lucky too.
I know.
We're lucky too. And
Kicking it off.
congrats on the show, Dr. Wendy. Congrats on the show.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And I just have to tell the world I always want to give you your flowers because you're amazing. You make all of us so proud. We know the work you do is not easy, but you do it with such grace. You do it with such tenacity, and you do it with your head held high. And so please, please, please know we see you.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you so much. And we see you too, Doc.
Oh, thank
we
you.
see you,
Oh.
Madam PhD, 2 masters.
Okay.
We see you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you for being a representation for us as well and giving a voice to some of us in the media space that we don't see a lot of us.
Oh, wow.
So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So I'm going to jump to meat and potatoes because, you know, a lot of things have been going on recently.
Seriously, really?
Yeah, just a little so I don't know.
It's kind of quiet.
A little quiet.
Yeah,
Just a little
nothing
something.
going
Oh, okay. All right. So you happen to be the voice of the President of the United States.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are working under the Biden-Harris administration.
That's right.
Now, we are in a big year. It's a big year. I'm not going to say why it's a big year, but it's just a big year. Okay, with that being said,
Yes.
Can you talk to me a little bit about what you feel are some of the big accomplishments from the Biden-Harris administration? Because I feel like people often try to critique and say, what has this administration done?
Yeah.
I feel like you guys have done a lot, but I'm giving you the platform. For those who don't know, for those who may have been sitting under a rock, could you tell us a little bit about what has been done? But rather, I'll narrow the scope. Could you name one initiative that you want to make sure the American people are aware of?
So first of all, do not be under a rock. You need to be paying attention to what is going on right now.
That's right.
There is a lot at stake. A lot is at stake. Our democracy, our freedom, all of those things are on the table right now.
Yes.
And if you are not paying attention, that is your livelihood.
That's right.
And so everyone needs to pay attention. This is the Biden-Harris administration, which is a historic administration. Just by saying Biden-Harris is a historic administration.
That's right.
And not just at the top, but all the way down. You just talked about me. If you think about the Supreme Court Justice,
Yes.
right? Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Yes.
You think about, if you look at the cabinet secretaries, it's diverse. It is the most diverse administration in modern times. And the reason I say this is, as you're asking me about an initiative, in order to have an unprecedented record, you need to have all voices at the table. And that's what this president did. He made sure he had all voices at the table. Here's one initiative that I think is so critical and so important. And I like to talk about this one. The name of the act is the Inflation Reduction Act. And it's so much more than that. The name actually kind of waters down what it does, and what this law does.
Okay.
So you think about Medicare. If you all have grandparents, someone that you love, someone that's older in your life, just think about it. If they have, for example, if they're diabetic,
Yes.
they were paying $400 for insulin. Now they're paying $35 a month for insulin. And that is something this administration has been able to do. If you think about Medicare, there has been for years and years and years, elected officials have been trying to make sure that Medicare could be able to negotiate with Big Pharma because they charge us too much for medication. Now, Medicare can negotiate. So there was this gentleman who was about 76 years old. He has 2 illnesses. One is a rare cancer, blood cancer. He was paying $15,000 a month for that medication and also the insulin. Now, because of this piece of legislation that is now law, the costs go down. If you care about climate change, this legislation actually has the biggest investment in climate change. I know a lot of young people care about that. That's one thing. And so that's just one. That is one thing that I'm talking about. You care about, education, student loan debt. The president was able to get that done.
Please.
He was able to get that done. Some of you may be getting an email that says your student debt is gone.
I didn't get it, but can somebody forward me that email, please?
Some folks, that's because of the Biden-Harris administration. HBCUs, historically black colleges and colleges and universities. We have invested, this president and the vice president has invested more than $16 billion.
That's a lot.
$16 billion in the HBCUs. Housing, we're doing things to make sure we take away the discrimination so that people are able to get housing, because it's really hard for our communities.
Absolutely.
And so it goes on and on and on and on, creating good paying jobs. We created 2.3 million jobs for Black Americans in this country.
So you just opened the door and I'm going to walk through it.
Okay, let's walk through it. Come on.
I don't want to do identity politics, but I'm going to ask a question. Yeah. There has been a lot of rhetoric. There's been a lot of conversation that says this administration has not done things for Black and brown people. I'm going to put your feet to the fire.
Yes, ma'am.
In your opinion, what are the top 5 things that this administration has done for the Black community?
HBCUs, I just mentioned, $16 billion. 2.3 million jobs created for Black Americans under this administration. That comes out of the more than 15 million jobs that we've been able to create under this administration. Let's not forget, we walked in when the vice president, the president walked into the administration, there was a pandemic going. Schools were closed, right? Businesses were closed. And if he didn't say we need a strategic way to make sure, a comprehensive way to get those vaccines and not forget the Black and brown communities, he made that happen. And also, one of the things, there's the child tax credit. I think you're aware of what that is. The child tax credit helped put about $300 in people's pockets so that they could be able to get things, do things for their kids during the pandemic, during a tough time economically, they weren't able to do. That was this president. And so we're trying to get the child tax credit done. But so many ways, economy, healthcare, education, in every piece of that, we have done made some significant gains.
Give me 2 more.
2 more?
You thought I wasn't counting? Woo! This is Dr. Wendy Show.
Okay, Dr. Wendy. I got to keep up with the 2 masters and the PhD. I only got 1 master's. I got to keep up. Okay. I talked about the student debt relief. That's important. We're talking about over $160 billion for more than 5 million people. Keep track, please keep track.
Last one.
If you think about the infrastructure legislation, broadband is an issue that it really affects our community. And in order to be competitive, we have to have access to technology.
Technology deserts.
And the technology desert, that is another place. And there's many more. I'm just naming a few off the top of my head.
So that was HBCUs. That was child tax credit. That was broadband. It was something, inflation.
Right. Well, there was insulin.
Insulin.
Right.
Yep.
Medicare. Okay. There's so much more. There's so much more. And if you think about more coming out of the Infrastructure Act, our roads are deteriorating.
That's right.
Right? The bridges, the roads, and that matters in our communities. And not only are we going to fix that, but we're going to hire people within the community. And you do not need a college degree to make a 6-figure salary. And that's what we want to do. That's what we want to do. And that's what the president has been able to do.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes,
my husband,
Okay,
Eddie.
I know Eddie.
Known as,
I love Eddie.
Oh,
he's a sweetie. Him. He's a sweetie.
Also known as Happy Eddie.
He is Happy Eddie. Oh my God.
He started his own cannabis brand, but we know millions of people have been impacted by cannabis. Now that cannabis is becoming legal in some states, is there a conversation within this administration to expunge cannabis-related convictions?
So here's the thing. The president has always said he does not believe people should be in prison for the use of marijuana only. And he has expunged, on the federal level, been able to get that done. We are looking at rescheduling, right? There's something that is happening and that is moving forward. But that is something that the president is very serious about. And it was part of his campaign in 2020 and has already taken action on that. You should not have to go to jail. Like, if it is not cocaine is not the same as using marijuana. It is just not the same. And so we're looking at that, and that's something that HHS is certainly looking into in DOJ.
And if I could say, especially since it nefariously impacts Black and brown communities disproportionately.
Yeah, and he said that. We've actually said it affects disproportionately Black and brown community.
Absolutely.
And we need to take a look at that.
Okay. Women's reproductive rights. This is a big one.
It's a big one.
Women's reproductive rights continue to be under attack. What is this administration doing to ensure that women in every state get the health care they need?
Ooh, we have to pay attention to this. This is when you started off asking me if you've been under a rock. This is it. Do not be under a rock about this. This is about our freedoms and democracy. And what happens with the Dobbs decision that the Supreme Court did. Oh, another thing, the Supreme Court reform. That's something that the president announced recently about moving in ways to make sure that if you hold an office at the highest office of the land, you should be held accountable. And he made some announcement. It's going to hopefully work with Congress and get some legislation done. Okay, so with that, the Dobbs decision happened over 2 years ago. It came out of the Supreme Court. It is something that the former president had always said that he wanted to do, which is overturn Roe v. Wade. That happened. We have 22 states that have abortion bans. We got to be really clear about that. That affects 27 million women who are of reproductive health. Who are of age to have of reproductive health. And that matters. And so what we have done, the president has made an all of government effort. He signed 2 executive actions the day one that the Dobbs decision was done and Roe v. Wade was overturned. And he wants to make sure that DOJ is protecting doctors, right? Doctors right now are criminalized.
That's right.
Women are criminalized
if
they go across the state to go someplace else. And so we're trying to do everything that we can. The vice president has led this effort, has been a strong voice along with the president on making sure that we are fighting and making aware of reproductive rights. We should be able, a woman should be able to make decisions about her body for herself in private, with her family, with her doctor. That is something that the president believes. That's certainly something that the vice president believes. And we're going to continue to fight to protect women and also make sure that we're protecting contraception, because that's something that they're going after. IVF is something that they're going after.
That's right.
And so we're going to do everything that we can to protect that.
Last question before I let you go. I know there's a busy time, you know? For the people who say, I'm just one person, my voice does not matter, what would you say to them?
Your voice matters. Your voice matters. We hear you. We see you. Do not ever give up. If you give up on yourself, you're giving up on everybody else in your community. You have to keep going. Your voice matters. Your voice matters, Dr. Wendy. My voice matters.
That's right.
And what you're doing, this show that you do, everywhere that we see you and you're speaking the truth to power, that matters. There is a little kid watching who's saying, oh my gosh, right? And sometimes what you're saying, that little pebble of knowledge, that will go far, right? The waves of that pebble will go far. And so the imagery, the representation is so powerful, and everyone has a voice. And when we come together, that collective voice, wow, how powerful is that?
How powerful is that?
How powerful is that?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Thank you, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre.
Dr.
Would
Wendy,
you come back and join me?
Oh, absolutely. You say when, and I'll be there.
All right. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna go to the West Wing though.
Oh yeah. Okay, we could do that. Okay. I'm maybe for season 15.
Thank you so much.
Put that into the universe.
I know, that's right. Thank you so much for watching Dr. Wendy Show. Make sure you like and subscribe and tune in for the next episode. Bye.